Hey, what's up guys? My name's Evan and I'm with Kobuk, and today we're going to show you how we made this sweet aviation video. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. We're going to have it linked here in the video and in the description. It's a pretty sweet video. Filming planes can sometimes be challenging, but if you have the right preparation, equipment, and communication with the pilots, you can come up with some pretty sweet footage that not a lot of other people can get. Every year in our hometown of Port Ellsworth, we do a cool event called the Sourdough Fly-In. So people will fly their planes in, we have plane competitions, shortest takeoff, spot landing, pizza drop. It's super fun, the whole community comes out. But one of my favorite parts of the fly-in is that every Sunday we do a film festival. So people from all over the state will submit cool videos of aviation, outdoors, just cool stuff that they're doing. So this year, we wanted to make something cool to kind of show people a little taste of what we enjoy and our passion for aviation. We really wanted to do a film that kind of showed off the rugged Alaska-style flying that many of the bush pilots out here do. Thankfully for us, we have a really good friend, Micah Natwick, who has a beautiful PA-12 and was willing to be in our film. To come up with kind of the concept for the film, we just tossed some ideas around of how we wanted the flow to go, what we wanted it to be like. And once we had kind of figured that out, we wrote out a rough script and then also came up with a shot list and storyboard. I would say with any sort of filmmaking, and especially aviation filmmaking, it's important to have a plan, know what you're going to do. If you're going to be asking pilots to do different maneuvers, if you want to get certain shots, just have those plans written down and ready so that when you show up to the shoot, you know what you're going to do. That's super important. So we shot this film on a Sony a7 III, super lightweight, mirrorless camera. Great for filming in planes. You can get it into tight spaces. It's really run and gun, so a great camera to work with. Another important piece of equipment was the gimbal. So we used a DJI Ronin. If you're filming in a plane, it gives you that stabilization. This just was a super versatile piece of gear that we could use. Another important piece of equipment is a handheld radio. If you're going to be filming any aviation filmmaking, I would highly recommend that you invest in a handheld radio or at least borrow one from a friend. If you're going to be on a runway, anywhere where planes are taking off, it's really important that you have communication with the pilot so that he can know where you're going to be, he can know what sort of shots you're doing, and if there's any other planes in the area, you're just taking that extra step to be safe. So handheld radio is a must. That really was a game changer in our shoot, and honestly, I wouldn't do any sort of aviation filmmaking without one. While Micah was taxiing out, we got a few shots of him taxiing. He went to the end of the runway and ran up, and we got a few shots of him starting the plane up, taxiing. We did a few shots where we circled around him. And then to get the shots of him taking off, I actually sat in the back of the pickup truck and we drove next to Micah as he took off and got some cool videos of him giving a cool perspective kind of the takeoff. For the interior shots, we're kind of going for the Top Gun, Tom Cruise cockpit look. So I got one of those little RAM iPad holders and we mounted that to the frame, put my a7 III in a cage and we just screwed that on there, and it ended up being a really cool result that I think I'm going to try and do in the future. So the next day of shooting was a little more challenging because we wanted to film all the air-to-air stuff. So air-to-air is super technical sometimes, but once again, communication's key here. So make sure that you have a good headset and the pilot that you're flying with, you have talked to them about what you want to do beforehand, as well as briefing the other pilot that you're going to be filming. So the plane I was filming in was a 1947 T-Craft and my dad was flying it. Really cool plane, and I love filming out of that plane because Dad has these seaplane doors where you can open the handle and flip it up, and it makes it really easy to film. If you're going to film anything out of a plane, I would recommend either going with a plane that has seaplane doors or just taking the doors off completely. The glare on the windows just really makes it hard to get good shots out of. It sometimes ruins your footage, so just be really aware of that. Talk to your pilot before you take off, see if you can take the doors off. If it's seaplane doors, open them all the way. It's going to be chilly, so make sure that you wear a nice coat, even wear gloves and just be prepared for the cold. While I was in the plane, I like to keep my camera on a gimbal just because sometimes there's some rough air or you're making steep turns, whatever it is, the plane gets a little bumpy, and having the camera on a gimbal just gives you a little bit of peace of mind that you know you're gonna have good footage. I like to do 60 frames per second just so you can get that slow motion and kind of slow it down to eliminate some of those bumps. But I also really like the 24 frames per second look that you can get with planes, but you really need to be on it with the stabilization. So I usually go a little higher frame rate. I'm talking like 1/100 to 1/125, and keeping it on the gimbal just because with the rough air, you can really ruin some cool shots if you're not careful. Yeah, also another good piece of advice is to have a variable ND filter so you can quickly change exposure in the plane. You don't have to try and, mess with your dials. If you're wearing gloves, it's a lot easier. And that's really it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. Please check out the video if you haven't. And if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments. Send us a DM on Instagram. I'd love to help anybody that wants to do more plane filming or is just curious on how we made this video. So, thanks, guys.